Beyond, like I said, beyond just I know you by face, but I don't know you by name.
Right,
Amen.
right. And let me just add to that. So important to have fellowship. Fellowship. Fellows in the ship, but we're fellowshipping together in relationship. And not just I know your name, but also, oh yeah, we both got kids, or we both are, going through or did this, or we both are trying having relationship, taking just introduction beyond just introduction to relationship, sisterhood, creating an environment that I can feel comfortable in. That's what our women's fellowship is all about. And it's just about breaking down the walls that are just, oh, this is sister so and so. But this is Evangelist T, and she got two, three girls, and this and that. That's Sister Alice, and she have a son and her mother, and where we know one another, and we're able to peel back those layers. Because I'm gonna tell you something: the world can be so isolated and so cold, and people can be so disconnected. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. I mind my own business. That's good. You should mind your own business, but you should have people that also embrace you. You should have a support system. You know, the church used to be, and Pastor and I have talked about this in the past, the church used to be the support system, especially in the black communities. It was the one gathering place where people felt comfortable and you could come and your issues, your problems, whatever, you wasn't going through it by yourself. And we got to a place of, where the Lord blessed us to have a little more and earn a little more. And independence started to also make people isolated and a little more disconnected. And you don't want to be dependent on people, but then I should be able to trust you and be able to look to you and know I got a church family. I got a support system. I got people that are with me going through this, because often so many times people will just maybe introduce, okay, I took it that step further, but now relational, so that you can truly bear my burden if I need you to, and I can bear yours. It makes sense to go that far.
Why do you think? What do you think is one of the hindrances of why we don't reach out more and embrace one another and go beyond just
Names and titles or introduction.
I'm laughing because I already had Elder Rhonda with her hand up. She looking. I'm like, oh, so we must got some answers to this. Go ahead, Elder.
Was going to say no trust and no faith in people keeping secrets.
I was gonna say judgment because regardless of what somebody's been through, it's hard to talk about it with others if you don't know that they in your same space. So being able to discuss things that you went through and also making it a testimony, but not feeling that they judging you when you tell them.
When I was writing a response to a graduate admissions paper, one of the things that I talk about as to why I wanted to do social worker counseling is that in the black community especially, and we related it to the church as well, you have to be strong, or you have to appear as if you're strong. And if you are in need of help, or if you're seeking help, then you're not strong. You're seen kind of as weak, or as you can't, what they say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever they call it. So it's kind of that mindset of we have to be strong. We cannot be seen as weak because they've always seen us as weak or less than. So we have to, yeah. So it's hard to ask for help, especially within the families, because like I think one of them said, you don't want people to know your business. You learn from early childhood. Don't be telling people your business. Don't go in this house asking for food. Don't go in this, so, yeah.
And for me, it's like when I do need somebody and I call or I text or I do what I need to do, it seems like I don't get a response. And that's for me.
Hello. Same here. It's like you try to reach out to people. You'll do everything in your power to check on everyone, do your best to do this, to do that. But when it comes to when you need help, there's nobody there. And before I started joining church, it was nobody there. But now, since I'm here, it's there. Just like, just not to get off the subject, but Monday I was driving to work, and it was slippery on the highway. I try my best to maneuver my car the best way I can. I had deja vu with a rig. The rig hit my little mirror on the door on the passenger side and turned it the other way. While I'm doing that, I'm also between the rig and the wall. Y'all just don't know how God is good. And for people to judge you and saying because you're going to church, you think you all good, you all this, you all that, you all high and lie. It's not that. While y'all want to do what y'all want to do, I'm trying to do best for me. That go with the judging part. They don't deal with you. This and this and that. And
For me, it's time. Just me wondering how long, will you be there for me? And just waiting on, okay, when you're having a situation, you got everybody backing you up, and as time move on, back to normal. Everybody's back to normal and doing, like she said, doing what they want to do and waiting on the next.
Well, no consistency. No consistency. But with me, it's really not a hindrance, in the church, because love is love. And I receive it when I get here and I give it. So even if I didn't get that answer to the text or to the call when I needed it, that doesn't mean that they were rejecting you or neglecting you. It could have been, see, we don't know what somebody else is on the other end doing. It could have been busy at that moment, and that's when we got to call on the Father. We got to call on him. So he's basically the one that can, when we can't get the 911 down here, we can definitely get the 911 up there.
I'm just going to add two more. Fear and guilt. You have guilt because depending on your life situations or whatever, you find yourself asking for help more often than what you would like. And so because I feel guilty that I have to keep asking for help, I'd rather not keep doing it. Or fear of rejection, fear of disappointment, fear of judgment, fear.
Man, we had a lot of answers for
But why not? Yeah, you asked.
So
Right.
well, I do want to say one of the things I am thankful about us is that one of the common things that is always said about us when people come, I think Sister Letitia was the last one to say it, was that feeling of family, that we do have a family feel.
Yes.
And that's something that, has always been said about us, and it's something that I want it to always be said about us. That when new folks come in, we embrace them and we make them feel loved and welcome and whatnot. Because that is important. Because you don't know what people are going through when they come through those doors.
Nope, you don't.
Now, I didn't anticipate going this route tonight, but it's a route that we're going to go down for a moment at least. I asked that question actually not thinking people would answer.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Yeah, yeah.
But I'm glad that I asked that question. But you know, some factors that I see is we come up in the church and we put up a facade. You know, we put up a facade that I got it all together. I got my stuff together. I got my life together, whatnot. And when you are somebody who has issues or struggles or things going on, you don't feel comfortable reaching out to someone who portrays themselves as, I got it together, I got my act together, I got this and I got that. And because we come into the church and we put on that facade, that's what keeps us from really embracing one another. And when I say us, I don't just mean word, I mean churches all over. You know, we come in here, a lady that used to be a member of our church years ago, she's pastor now, but she would put on, you know her too, and you do too, I believe. She would put on these seminars called Taking Off the Mask. Y'all remember that? And the point was that we come into the church and we put on these masks of, like I just said, that we got it all together, we this, that, and the other, and nobody knows each other's story. And if we knew each other's story, we recognize, oh, we just putting on a mask in front of one another. We don't allow ourselves in the church to be vulnerable to one another. To say, you know, I struggle with this. I struggle with that. I love the Lord, but I'm falling short in this particular area. I serve the Lord, but I haven't gotten a handle on this, or I haven't gotten a handle on that. And if we was more vulnerable and real with one another, we'd embrace one another. Because guess what? My imperfection can embrace your imperfection. Yeah. My shortcomings can love your shortcomings.
Amen.
Because I now recognize that we are in the same boat together.
Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes,
different issues, different problems, different whatever,
Right.
but we're all in this same boat,
Right.
trying to get it right, trying to go. And that was one of the things. It was funny when we was coming to church. Yolanda was playing last week's Bible study, and it was on that part where I was talking about when I went away to school. And one of the things I said, I don't know if we missed it, but I said we all were saved. We weren't perfect, but we were all saved and striving, meaning I knew you wasn't perfect. I knew you wasn't perfect. I knew your issue. You knew my issue, whatnot, and we was there for one another. We were there for one another, and because we knew all that, we was there for one another, we could help uplift each other. We can help hold each other up. If I knew that you were struggling, and this is just an example, if I knew one of my brothers was struggling with lusting, I kept an eye out on him when we would go hang out at the mall and whatnot. And we ain't finna go. Because he would always say, would always get me in trouble, so I had the gift of gab. And when I noticed he was getting to be real gabby, no, come on. Because we know where that's going to go, what road that's going to lead you down. And
blessed all
right, and though I know that was I never made you feel bad about it. Yeah. I never condemned you about it, but I helped you to try and grow and get strong in that area. Right. And the same thing with me. They knew my areas. And that's one of the reasons why we're so close to the friends we grew up with, because they knew all our dirt. Yeah. They knew all our mess. They knew all of our shortcomings. So we could embrace them more and easier. But again, if we're talking about we have to do an inventory of the people in our lives and get the people out of our lives that are not helping our growth, that are not encouraging our walk with the Lord and getting people in our lives, embracing people in our lives who are saved and who are trying to grow, then we got to be with them the same way we were with our circular friends. I got to be willing to be vulnerable. Yes. I got to stop trying to come in here on a Sunday and act like everything is great and perfect in my world. You know, just because she always started out, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord, don't mean everything was perfect.
No, you got that right. What you said, that part, and that part. Yeah, I was still glad.
I'm still glad to be in his house. But it's not that I'm glad because I'm perfect. Right. I'm glad because the warfare I was going through out there, the battle I was going through out there, the things I struggled with, the things I said that I shouldn't have said, the things I did that I shouldn't have done. I'm thankful that I could come into the house of the Lord and know I'm loved and forgiven from the Lord, but I'm supposed to know that from my brothers and sisters as well. Yes. You know, anybody got any thoughts, comments on Elder?
Just remember a time here that a person made a comment to me and they said, well, I didn't know that you would be crying. And I was like, why? And they said, because of the simple fact you hold yourself so strong that it just throws me off that, you know, people in leadership or in pastoring or evangelists or elders, people don't expect us to be still human. Mm-hmm. And when she said that, I had to tell her, I'm still human. So I can cry sometimes. But you may not see me do it all the time, but it was like a really like a woe to her, like, no, it can't be her. No. And I said, yes, it happens sometimes. Absolutely. So I can't be as strong as everybody want me to be all the time because, like you said, we still human and we have things that, you know, that people don't see or don't know what's going on with us. Right. So it's like behind the mask. They thought that, oh, this hurt. No, ain't no way she's going to be like that. But that's what the part about taking off the mask was, that people have to understand just because you're in leadership don't mean that you don't hurt. You know, you're a pastor, don't mean that you don't need people to pray for you. When you give out prayer, you need prayer as well. So that's what I'm saying. So don't think because we're up front or whatever we're doing that we don't fall into the same things you fall into, because we all come from that same niche. We all have feelings. We all go through things maybe differently, but somewhat of the same. So as we always say here, iron sharpens iron. So that means that we come together, and I might can't identify with everything you're going through, but it might be something I can. But I can use what I have been through to even help you in that way. It don't have to be the same thing. Amen. You know what I'm saying? Because it's called encouraging and uplifting each other. Amen. So that's where I'm at with that comment, because when she said that, it just took me somewhere, because I was like, she saw that as we don't cry. We can't cry because we got to keep them when they crying. It was like, but I might need you to keep me.
Right.
You know, whenever I speak, especially on Sundays, one of the reasons why I'm never hesitant to use me as an example of coming up short or whatnot, because I don't want to ever present myself that though I have the title of a pastor, doesn't mean I get it right all the time. Right. You know, it does. And I'm going to say this, and we ain't never talked about it, but I remember me and Steve downstairs got in a stomp down crazy argument. And nobody knows that he let, I mean, we was like face to face arguing. And wait a minute, it was so funny. John, because we was here on the Saturday cleaned up. John came up to me later, was like, "Are y'all all right? Cause y'all got me off. I'm not feeling well right now." It was just one of those things, but and a lot of it was from a misunderstanding. It was a misunderstanding.
That happens a lot of times.
You know, I told him that that don't bother me like that because I recognize we're human, and if at the end we get to resolution, that's all that matters to me. You know, everybody want to get to resolution a certain type of way. Sometimes it don't come across a certain type of way, but at the end, he and I got to a resolution, and I'm willing to say, and I bet he'll agree, our relationship is even better. Would you agree, Steve? Yes. It's even better. And I told him that day, this is just going to make us better. Yeah. But we'll never get that if we put up let's be clear. I don't go looking to argue with folks. So I don't want nobody to think, that just happened between Steve and I. But we both recognize that we're human. We both recognize that we fall short. We don't always get it right. Even me as holding the title of pastor, I'm still human. And if we can just allow ourselves to be real with one another, if we could just allow ourselves to be vulnerable to one another, if we could just allow ourselves to take off the mask, it'd be easier to embrace each other. It'd be easier to embrace each other. So again, that's why I say, I don't have a problem unmasking my faults. Now, like I said a couple Sundays ago, there are some things I will just never share because that's between me and the Lord.
Let me jump in here real quick. The word that God gave Evangelist T on Sunday was just dynamic. And I'm not saying this because you're here. I'm saying that word, when you were talking about the mask and talking about how people can judgmental and not trusting, everything that the Lord used you to bring out, the unforgiveness and the pride and the jealousy and the envy and the inferiority and all those things, often people come through the door with so much of that in us. I ain't saying somebody else, but all of us can come in the door with so much of that in us that we can push people away. Yeah. It's not that I have a mask. I just haven't unpacked all that mess. And often I can't be open to you when I ain't even open to me. That was such a healthy word because emotional sickness is often the core of so many outward illnesses. Yes. Emotional and all of that baggage, which was what the Lord had gave you to share, is often what anybody, man, woman, old, young, white, black, whatever age, often carry the same thing because emotional illnesses does not have a color, it does not have an age, it does not have limitations. It doesn't have a gender, it can reach anyone. And that is why it is so important for us as the body to be intentional to create an environment of embrace. However you come and whatever you working with. But that's why we have to pray and ask the Lord, Lord, prepare me to be the body, the part of the body that I'm supposed to be. Because sometimes I might just need to be an ear to hear you. Sometimes I might just need to be bring it in. I know, we can't talk about it. I know. Whatever that needs to be, we should want to be intentional. God, make me intentional to be the body that you call me to be. And often it's going to be a greater sermon than from the pulpit, just with the love and embrace or endearment that I'm receiving at that time. I'm sorry, Brother Steve.
I just want to piggyback on it. That was very good what she did Sunday. It was in the raw, and she was just talking about herself as well as everybody else, and you can feel that the Lord had gave her that. And after that, I had told her, I said that was powerful, that was wonderful. It was a blessing to me, because she just served it really in the raw, and I want to thank you. You really did. It was awesome there.
Did we all go away thinking, Lord, help me to unpack some emotional things? You know what I'm saying? Help me to unpack, even if it's one thing, That word really was resounding because it brought the mirror to me, to you, to you. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't you looking in my mirror, it was me looking in my own mirror saying, Lord, help me to unpack some things that I have allowed and just maybe unintentional.
He really did give that word came to me first, because when I get, no matter how you say the mask, when a certain person come in my area, my face show it, but on the inside I'm like, I got it together. I'm all together in here, but I might not be saying it out of my mouth, but my whole demeanor, everything just changes. And that's why I was like, Lord, help me with this, because I don't want to keep carrying that. I don't want the enemy feel like he got that control over me. I'm giving him that control. So I wanted him to help me with that, and he was like, this is it.
That we be real intentional with that, because that's what the old people used to say, everything in you got to come out. If you want to go back with Jesus when he comes, everything in you got to come out. And something that my mother would take it a step further, and she'd say, if you want to live whole, everything in you got to come out. If you want to be a good mother, a good wife, a good friend, a good brother, a good husband, good whatever, all that mess got to come out. Otherwise, you will find yourself raising your kids with them same little embedded foolishness. And now the kids act like the parents, and the parents, you know, everybody acting alike because we all was raised on this. Look at them, who they think they are. Now you just raising your kids to be some little haters too. Now you a hater, they a hater. All y'all, every time you see somebody, they the main ones want to scratch somebody's car, do something silly because they jealous. Because you've allowed that. Or you have them thinking, we got to have it like this, we got to have it like that. Now you got kids going out here and got to have what they can't even afford, throwing their life away for it because we got to have it. Those are things of pride. Those are things of jealousy. But both of them can be passed on and you don't even realize it. And at the end of the day, God called us to a place of wholeness. No, we don't have to be perfect, but we should be striving toward perfection. If you are trying to be healed, you don't want to say, you know, okay, I took the pill one day and I'm instantly healed, but you certainly want to know it's working. Otherwise, why am I taking it? So we want to know that our prayer life is working. Otherwise, what am I getting out of it? And your prayer life works when we reel with it and empty out a lot of that, what the Lord gave you on Sunday. That was excellent.
Okay, and I wanted to say, okay, I understand besides some, and I'm not gonna lie, I do it sometimes. And the reason why is because I might, okay, you say go to God with it. I do go to God with everything. But sometimes in the mood, the space that I'm in, sometimes I just can't hear him, you know. So that's why I called out, and I need help, and I need to talk to somebody about it. And if they're not there, then what am I going to do? I'm going to tell you, with me, I've been falling back, you know. I talked to my daughter, and she even asked me the other day, she said, Mama, why you don't talk to me the way that you talk to everybody else? I talk to people that listen. I talk to people that answer. And I haven't been getting that, and I need help. And God knows I do, because it's like I'm not where I want to be. And I put up that facade because I put on that mask because I want to be where that mask is putting me. You know what I'm saying? And I need the help. I call, I text. I understand you said sometimes you have to go to God, but let me tell you this. When I go to God, sometimes I can't hear. Sometimes I be all over the place where I can't hear his voice, okay? And I need somebody that I can hear him actually hear me. You know what I'm saying? So I only have to tell you where I'm at with this. You hear me? And that's where I'm at. I need somebody that I can hear a voice. You know, my daughter asked me the other day, and I said, I didn't know that I wasn't talking to you, and I feel bad about that. But when you want to talk to me, just let me know. You know, but when I can't read her the way that I want to read her. You know, Some days I be wanting to be bothered with her, and some days she don't want to be bothered with me. That hurts, you know what I'm saying? And she'll say, Mama, I'm doing this. And I say, okay, so I go back in my room. Okay, I hurt too. I need somebody too. And when I was with my husband last week, I enjoy that, you know, because he lets me know that I'm wanted. You hear me? I just need to know that I'm wanted. That's why I put up the massage. Because I'm looking. I want to be wanted. That's it, and that's all. And I need help. I call people, and they ain't always say, okay, I need, and God knows I do.
I know.
You know, again, guys.
Yes,
Can I share something, please?
People get busy. Yeah, but every Sunday I try to get up here and I have some prayer, because of what I
I just wanted to share with her. So my husband is deceased, and I don't have anyone. I live by myself, and my daughter is busy, you know. But for me, I learned to get into Letitia, you know, and I leave her be. You know, when you got time, girlfriend, you call me, and nothing to take away from you, but we all have busy lives, you know, and I know, you know, like my daughter, she's got 4 boys. She ain't always got time to talk to me. So I talk to God, you know, and I'm a writer, so I write stuff down, and that helps me to be able to take it out of my head and put it on a piece of paper where I can see it, and then I can go back to it. I don't have a lot of friends, you know. You all are my friends. My worldly life, that's gone. I don't do that no more, you know, and I'm okay with that. But I know I'm looking at your face, sweetheart, and all I'm telling you is, please don't misunderstand what she's saying to you. As a child, we all go in, and I'm sorry, but we all go into, you know, we have lives, we have kids, we have everything that we have to do, but we forget that that's the lady that birthed me, you know, and she need a little something every now and then too. So it's nothing to take away from you, sweet pea. Please don't misunderstand what she's saying, because I hear her, because I'm there every day. But sometimes just give her a little 2-piece sometimes. Hey, girl, what you doing? You know, just to help her, you know.